Hello everyone, I am Relentlessly. We are back again talking about how it appears that Chris Bacon did find my video as I figured he would because he's an absolute clown who's subscribed to my channel because he talks about how, oh, I hate things and I hate certain organizations even though I've donated to that organization in the past. It's very interesting how that makes sense. But you also had TisoSpencer, who seems to always have this weird idea that I don't make money on YouTube. For some reason, the man is always trying to pocket watch me, similar to how all these weirdos pocket watch Eric July on a consistent basis, even though he's blown out every single CG campaign, even with just the Horseman. You know, Ripazine 2 even blew out Fearsome, and that's a full comic book versus a magazine. But it's also interesting to me how Smug Davis thinks he's like this big, all high and mighty comic creator, even though you can clearly see that his backers are just going down and down on Indiegogo, and then he makes the excuse about how he converted people to his website. It's almost like, I don't know, you guys tried to downplay Eric July, you and John Malin, which I have no problem with John Malin, by the way, and you guys are like, oh, you shouldn't do your own thing, you should go to Indiegogo, yet for some reason now all of a sudden you want to shift people to your website because you probably realize you're not making as much money as you possibly could because you're taking that 5% from Indiegogo. But let's go ahead. First things first, you have the Horseman right here at 11,577 books, $686,000, closing in on that 700K, closing in on 11.6 for books sold. Now, Achromatic Chronicles of Green did launch on Rippercent.com. So if you want to get in on this book, Achromatic Chronicles Green, if you never got in on Achromatic Chronicles Blue, you can purchase both books over here. I'll leave links to everything in the description below. But it's very funny. It's very amusing how the guy that seems to have all the money in the world apparently to spend $16K on watches, which, hey man, do what you do. You're a full-grown adult. You buy whatever you want with your money. But you can't sit up here and flex and then get BTFO by Vickyverse because you decide to flex money buying a bunch of useless trash with watches. Like, nobody cares about that. You're probably in your late 40s thinking you're going to flex money buying watches. Like, grow up. And you're going to sit here and commit adultery as well. So you have no moral ground to stand on over me. You are not a better person than me, nor will you ever be a better person than me, considering you wanted to dox me because I made fun of you, and then you threatened to sue me with Katie Did Dogs. And you know what? Like I said in my last video, still waiting for that because it's never going to actually happen. You just, of course, putting out empty threats because you think because you have money, you could sit up here and do empty threats. But you want to sit up here and go, why did the Ripperverse fans and an Eric July YouTube channel moderator, again, I'm going to stop you right there. Andrew from the Ripperverse made fun of all of you clowns, and Eric didn't do not a dang thing because Eric doesn't control people. He doesn't control people's opinions on Twitter. So I don't know why you thought you'd bring this up as if this was some kind of like, oh, look at this guy. Look what he's doing. Look what he's a part of. Bro, shut your mouth. You're not going to do anything. You're going to sit up here and cry on Twitter as you normally do about literally anything, but it's hilarious how, again, you are subscribed to my channel. I appreciate that you're subscribed to my channel. Share my videos everywhere. Get me more views and make me more money. I don't care. Ridicule those willing to make a 4-figure donation to St. Jude and you tag it all. The charity chosen by the Ripperverse, which, by the way, you presented no receipts to. So I don't know how you're sitting up here saying you're doing this donation, yet you've never presented receipts. It's very interesting how that makes sense. If you have so much money, why don't you just donate a 5-figure or even a 6-figure since you want to sit up here and spend $16K on watches, which, once again, don't really care. Your money, you're a grown adult, you buy whatever you want. I'm sure both the Ripperverse and Eric July do not condone such classless behavior. Honestly, Eric July doesn't really give a crap. Like I said, he didn't really give a crap when Andrew made fun of you clowns. And everyone else who loves the Ripperverse don't really care about making fun of you clowns. Also, by the way, Eric July watches all of my videos. He's subscribed to my channel. So thanks for, being an absolute idiot and thinking you're going to tag him like he really gives a crap about your drama or anything I'm involved with, by the way. Please know this will not dissuade me from supporting your wonderful organization. So toxic, so disturbing. Your entire life is toxic and disturbing. Your entire existence is toxic and disturbing because you got really butthurt that Ripperverse wouldn't hire you, who's your numbers guy, and you think you're somehow intelligent, but you're not. You're clearly not very intelligent, considering you use the same name for Twitter that you used for your escort reviews. So let's not talk about how you're doing this out of generosity or the kindness of your heart while you sit up here and commit adultery against your own wife. That's hilarious to me. The fact that you have to put it in your Twitter bio that you don't actually hate sick kids just tells me you hate sick kids, because you were part of the clowns as well that were talking about how Eric July was committing charity fraud by donating money and comic books to Comic Books for Kids, which is a charity that cares about sick kids and kids who get comic books and money. It's very funny how that makes sense. But of course, TisoSpencer and his all legit retardation, I think it's obvious that Renown once again is showing how jealous he is over people like Chris having the real FU money. I personally don't care. Money doesn't solve all the problems, and money doesn't make you happy. So, and it bothers him to no end, not really, how he keeps wasting his life making content like this for 38 cents. Yeah, again, I'm going to say it, that's 38 cents more than I had. I still don't understand how clowns like this don't understand how making extra money on the side, doing something I actually like doing, is a bad thing. Plus, this is my part-time hobby and not a full-time job. I actually have one of those because I'm a grown man, unlike you who has a part-time job while your supposed wife goes out and F's her boyfriends and not you. Because you sit up here like a bald-headed loser and you cry about anything and everything I say because I'm living rent-free in your head constantly, daily. It's still interesting how everything you talk about is how much money I make on YouTube, and yet I get a payout every month. You're the brokey working part-time with your quote-unquote wife F's her boyfriend. Clearly my success and myself both live rent-free in your head. This is the charity he supposedly donated to. Apparently he thinks this is him, which again presented no proof at all to the contrary. Then you have clowns like Froggo over here on a brand new account still talking nonsense. I don't really care what you are or who you are. You are a clown that used your children to try to troll against me because you're a disgrace to all fathers out there, while you sit up here and talk crap about how I don't have a father. Well, clearly your kids don't have a real father because you're an absolute joke. You're an absolute joke. And I can tell you right now, tell your mother disappointed in you that you accomplished something. I accomplished having my own place, having my own stuff. Always have been since I was younger. I've been earning my own money since I was a teenager, but that's beside the point. Unlike you living in your broke hood area, in your broken down house with, another house behind you with broken windows. But let's not talk about how dumb you are. Because I say you used your children in a troll against me. You're a disgrace to fatherhood if I've ever seen it. You also live in the hood like the brokey individual you are. And then, this clown, again, the guy hates and attacks those who would willingly help sick children. Probably shouldn't speak. Again, I've donated to sick children as well. I'm actually looking forward to donating to Toys for Tots, unlike you probably. You're just sitting up here doing spite donations where you can actually probably take the money back if you felt like it. You're the same guy who claimed you were going to dox me and claimed you doxed other people. You committed adultery, and by doing so, you committed a mortal sin. Quote-unquote, donating to St. Jude's is not going to save your soul from heck. You don't in any way, shape, or form have the moral high ground. You're as B-made as the moist-back frog who cried and tagged Eric July for 3 days after LG made him be up live. Miss me with that BS. Just miss me with that BS, bro. You also got clowns out here saying, why do they hate so much? Isn't all that hate of theirs exhausting? I don't hate anybody. I just dislike clown-ass, washed-up comic pros continuously talking about something they don't like. Quote, why do they hate so much? Unquote. EVS has 100+ Trash Cast episodes hating on Eric July, and while now making new ones called Young Trash Cast, trying to be funny when he's not funny at all. But the people who love the Rippaverse are the ones that hate. Calling out hypocrisy isn't hating, clown. I'm sorry you're butthurt that I call a crappy human being constantly talking about the black man being successful in comics. Now again, I can say this right here. EVS outright does racist stuff towards Eric. He's blatantly racist towards Eric. He made it about race, not us. He's the one that started talking about how we only like Eric July because he's a black guy on the internet that shares our politics. Bro, I've presented clips multiple times of all the racist nonsense that this clown EVS does. Constantly showed racist stuff that he does. But apparently it's us bringing up the race. The only reason I bring up race is because this clown brought it into the situation, into the equation. Because he's an absolute loser and a washed up comic pro that nobody cares about. Then you have people talking about how the charity was a grift. These guys don't actually know what that means. Being a grifter is participating in a small swindling, which Eric July did not participate in. That's not what a grift is. The brain rot is present because he's like, oh, selling a book that costs $250. Wow, a company works out a deal to lower costs and then upcharges. Holy crap! Like that's like no company has ever done that before. Besides that, who cares? Who cares? Again, these weirdos on here with their fake profile pictures, concerned about what grown adults spend their money on. I'm not concerned with what anybody spends their money on. If you're a grown adult and you make your own money, spend it on whatever you want. I've never once told anybody that I'm supposedly in charge of what money they make. All companies create products for cheap and upcharge. This isn't a new concept. Also, Eric July didn't make a tidy profit. I don't know where clowns like this get this idea. Oh yeah, that's right. They just regurgitate whatever they're told to say because they're in a cult. All of New CG to me is a cult. That's all it is. You even have people like, again, Smug Davis talking about, all my books are better than a Ripperverse book. There's no way on God's green earth did you really sit here and say that you write better than Chuck Dixon or the Saska Sisters or Mike Barron. There's no shot you really thought that. You really thought you had a banger tweet by saying your books are better than Ripperverse books. There's no shot. And I did a review on Starlight Cats, and I disagree with you. I laughed. I said, your writing is not better than Chuck Dixon's Alpha Core, Saska Sisters, Yaira, or Mike Barron's Gooding. Also, that's an opinion, not a fact, because this is something I have to consistently say about these clowns who like to say Ripperverse books are bad. These clowns never really give facts. They never really say why they don't like it. They just say, oh, it's bad. And they pass it off as an actual fact, which is the most annoying thing on this website. I actually reviewed Starlight Cats, and I would disagree with you. I even read Inglorious Rex. Didn't care to read Inglorious Rex 2 because I don't care to further read your stories. And I would say out of the three of you, EVS, John, and Shane, you write the best out of the three. So, continues on by saying, I'm an award-winning New York Times bestseller. I've proved myself a long time ago. Now I'm humbly making the best books in my life. You're not humbly making anything because what you're doing is complaining that Eric used Marvel and DC to promote his books, yet you're doing the exact same thing with Eric. That's not humbly doing anything. If you want to learn how to humble yourself and promote your books and make the best books of your life humbly, you would follow the example of someone like Tyler Carpenter, who actually does that. He doesn't actually care about what everyone else is doing. He's only focused on what he's putting out and putting out his best work, and I'm supporting it. People like me are supporting that because I enjoy his books. I said, Charles Soule's Star Wars Light of the Jedi is a New York Times bestseller, and that book isn't great. His Darth Vader run is a better representation of his writing. It's better than your stuff. 100%. And again, this is all my opinion. And then he goes, almost no company profits off shipping. The only companies that profit off shipping are fulfillment companies, right, Eric? I said, you made $300K on your first book, and that's it. Second chance campaigns don't work. You try to shift the goalposts, which is hilarious to me. It's simple. Investigate shipping rates, charge those rates, ship your books. We do it all our time with our 300K campaigns. You know, the only one that you did, which was your first one. And then you go on to say, most important fact is I never lost 90% plus of my backers from my first book to my fifth like Eric did. Again, you worked in the mainstream industry. You worked for DC and you worked for Marvel. You should know, rather than being an absolute tourist, you should know that not every book appeals to everybody. I've already shattered this narrative with my boy LG. He himself did not purchase Gooding because he was not interested in that character. Wow, narrative shattered. It's so interesting that these guys don't take the same logic. Like people like Vaughnster, who I said the same thing to him. Why isn't every book said, oh, it's different IPs? Yeah, and I use that same logic with Ripperverse, and they see it as, no, you can't use that logic against me. You can't use that logic for this because they hate it so much. He didn't lose 90% of his backers, you clown. Different books appeal to different people. Why are washed up comic pros so dumb? By the way, you went from 3,309 backers from book 1 to 2,130 backers in book 2 to 2,102. Now this number right here, I got from his website, which accumulates all backers from all places he's, selling the book. You want to talk about drops? You should look at your own comics. Let's see. Let's go over to Indiegogo right here for Inglorious Rex #1. You have 3,309 backers. By the way, not every backer bought a book. I've already proven this with Cyberfrog 2. And it's interesting that Cyberfrog 2 sold less books than AlphaCore #1. He continues to sell the books after the campaigns end, and it's very interesting that people continue to use the same narrative of, oh yeah, let's look at the campaigns to determine how many people actually bought a book. Meanwhile, the books can be bought after the fact. So you made 303K. This is, by the way, after you went in demand. This wasn't even before. This was after you went in demand, and you gained 700 backers after you went in demand. So when the campaign supposedly ended, you were at 234K. So you went to 3,309 backers. Moving over to Inglorious Rex 2, you went down to 2,130 backers at 225K. Then you did a second chance campaign to, of course, fluff your numbers. And then we'll move over to 3, where you're now in demand for almost a month now. And you've gained, what, 25 backers on here? So you had 618. You went from 2,130 to 618. Of course, your excuse was, I converted people over to my website, which, based on the numbers I can see on here, you sold 298 books. Not counting for secret tiers and all other stuff you do behind the scenes and people doing add-ons. Based on the numbers we can actually see, because Indiegogo is not as transparent as, Ripperverse.com. Again, 298 books on Indiegogo. So you should look in your own backyard and figure out how many people bought your books before you try to judge what other people are buying on the Ripperverse. Because right here, all I have to do is go, boom, here's how many books sold. Boom, this is how much sales were. I can't see secret tiers. I can't see people doing add-ons. They don't show that. But it's funny that people that like you try to play it off as, oh, this says 2,103 backers or whatever it says. But you didn't actually add how many comics were actually sold. You could definitely tell just by looking at this that this entire number is either fluffed with merchandise or fluffed with secret tiers. Let's stop the bullcrap, because I've been on mailing lists for all of these, and every single one of these have had secret tiers. So miss me with that nonsense, please. Absolutely miss me with that nonsense, bro. Just, again, I say it all the time, focus on your material. Stop worrying about what other people are buying with their money. It's so weird that grown adults still care about what other people are doing. Eric is not concerned with what you guys are doing. Eric is concerned with building his company, getting more partnerships, collaborations, those things that you guys claim aren't happening, those partnerships you claim that aren't happening. And shut the heck up. And get your books out. It's that simple. Thank you all for checking out this video. I really do appreciate all the new subscribers, returning subscribers, new viewers, and returning viewers. If you do like this video, hit that like button. Comment below if you feel about all this. Subscribe for more content. Hit the bell for notifications. Set the bell to all. That way you get a notification anytime I post a new video. Go live on this channel. And I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.